Dear Philippine Legacy Media, I hope you're doing well. It's hard to expect anything less than your usual whirlwind of drama. I've been reflecting on how you never change, perpetually stuck in power plays, alliances, and rivalries, as if each new season is just a remastered version of the last. It's strangely fascinating, yet sadly predictable. Do you remember 2020? That year felt like it came straight from a high stakes drama, surprising, contentious, and divisive. It marked the effective shutdown of ABS-CBN's free-to-air broadcast, an event that shook the media landscape. For weeks, perhaps months, it was a topic of national discussion. Some dubbed it the Make Philippine TV Great Again moment, reminiscent of the new yet old American administration we are now unfolding. But let's be honest, was Philippine TV ever really that great? Or is it that we've just convinced ourselves it was? Nearly 5 years have passed, and we are grappling with the consequences. The story was never solely about unpaid taxes or alleged violations. The truth evident to us is that the denial of franchise renewal was more about power than legalities. It was a political drama where law and order took a backseat to ego and authority. The cost was steep. Thousands of jobs lost, dreams shattered, the media landscape gasped for air as the networks rushed to fill the void. Ultimately, we missed a valuable lesson about prioritizing politics over public good, as these lessons continue to go unheeded. Despite our efforts to restore what we had in 2022, the reality is that the chapter on Ignacia is somewhat closed, as the legendary duo, who are children of those tyrants who shut that network, has triumphed. Last year, their partnership unraveled under the weight of corruption, as the lines broke down. One with his cousin's pet project of Ayuda, and the other with the confidential fund spending being scrutinized by Congress. In the media landscape, new entrants appear, some with solid track records, and others with dubious reputations. Now it's 2025, and we find ourselves in a very familiar place. Now GMA and TV5 are cozying up to politicians like there's no tomorrow. It's almost like watching an endless rerun of the same tired drama formula. I'm weary of this cycle. Despite our wishes for change, we remain stuck in a loop of compromised values and political maneuvers. Some of us became apathetic and would show up this May 12 on the precincts, knowing all too well with the machinations and the trends from pollsters. I vividly recall how they unfolded. They gave them the boot, just as the pandemic was unleashed globally, delivering a gut punch. This network had been integral to Filipino life for decades, whether a supporter or a hater, and it all collapsed. The stated reasons, unpaid taxes and alleged violations, were clearly a smokescreen. The real reason, as we all know, is simpler. They challenged the then sitting administration's narrative. They reported on the extrajudicial killings, Chinese incursions in the West Philippine Sea, the government's poor pandemic response, and the rise of pogo hubs. In short, they did their job. And doing their job was seen as a crime. The whisper started almost immediately, from a marites in barangay to social media. For many, it felt like ultimate vindication. However, behind those harsh words lay devastation of their mental health, left to pick up the pieces of their shattered careers. Thousands were laid off, forced to reimagine their lives. Some found solace, and by this time, they are now adjusted in other networks, albeit with reservations. Some, unable to fit this order, chose early retirement, while others left the country for new opportunities or to reunite with family abroad. Those who persevere here had no choice but to adapt and reinvent themselves. Christian Esguerra, once an ANC mainstay, became a podcaster carving out a new space for himself away from the iron grip of network politics. His story wasn't unique. It was shared by so many others who had no choice but to pivot to find new ways to make a living in a media environment that had changed overnight. Some stars had to become YouTubers since the company can no longer produce projects as it once before, or else they'll quit showbiz for good. For us, the ordinary and consumer, it's like the EJK scene, where the carcass of the victim has a cardboard. Kalaban ako sa pagbabago, wag tularan. The administration's implied message to everyone is that it's time to stop revolving around them and move on by patronizing them, GMA, TV5, etc. as the news and entertainment sources. I mean, I try to appreciate them, Yet I couldn't stop looking at them with their strong suits and the deficiencies from what Ignacia had. GMA had to cover NCAA and fill up regional newscasts. TV5 had to carry the burdens of sports. You name it. Despite everything, CNN Philippines maintained a semblance of credibility, documenting the final moments of the old media landscape and evolving into a reliable news outlet. However, their news delivery requires eloquent and higher order thinking skills that an average Pinoy can never grasp, perhaps not even their lifetime. However, last year, they too shut down, not due to political pressures, but because of their grim business snapshot. State-owned networks such as IBC have already experienced a revival, and just last year, their AM station, D1 1206, reopened after 14 years, appointing TV Patrol's Mark Logan as station manager. Oh, and IBC's franchise is up for renewal this year. Now, whispers of a potential comeback for ABS are surfacing, fueled by term-limited lawmaker from Albay, advocating for a third chance. However, let's be realistic, it won't be the triumphant return many hope for. The media landscape has permanently shifted, whether we accept it or not. For me, if Ignacia returns, it must address its history that contributes to the toxicity of the industry, that petty network war, their talent exclusivity, and the encryption of its digital sub-channels. Now let me discuss GMA. This year, they celebrate their 75th anniversary with a new voiceover, as they bask in 5 years of undisputed dominance in the national airwaves. I can't help but wonder at what cost. They're the new homes of the Voice franchise and Family Feud. Amid all this, they've decided to provide Bong Revilla's sitcom for a third season. Given the pork barrel scandal and public outrage, who in the right mind wanted that? Janine Gutierrez called it out years ago, and she was right. It's not just him raising eyebrows. GMA's deep ties to politicians are evident. From Pia Cayetano's Sunday night show with her brother and Boy Abunda, continuing her father's legacy, to Wilbert Lee and Sam Versosa, who may have unclear political motives for joining the network. I think Versosa is due to his partner Rian Ramos. These connections prompt us to question how much of GMA's content is genuine entertainment and how much is political maneuvering. GMA often claims to be forever one with the Filipino, but does that truly include all Filipinos or just those who help sustain their power? TV5 once seemed like a promising alternative, distinct from other networks, but now I view it as more of a political variety show than a true challenger to the establishment from Kamuning. Tito Soto and Willie Revillame, once rivals in the noontime show wars of the 2000s, now share the stage on TV5 every weekday afternoon. They were on the same scene as the GMA before that, and both are running for Senate this year. Tito's political career is well established, while Kuya Will's abrupt entry into politics is unexpected. He violated a no politics provision in the contract upon returning to that network, leaving viewers uncertain if they're watching a variety show or a campaign ad. Then there's Benhur Abalos. After resigning as DILG secretary, he was supposed to be hosting Stories of Tomorrow on weekends. Wasn't Abalos satisfied with his numerous appearances on GMA shows last year? Oh wait, there's another one. Why is he going all into the remaining two? As much as we lament the loss of genuine and ethical programming, the political landscape now drives the entertainment agenda. This will persist as major companies like GMA, TV5, and state-run networks prioritize political interest over public service. GMA claims it's still kapuso, but to whom? TV5 is kapatid, but who are they close to? It's certainly not the public, or at least not the most rational, moral, and ethical among us. Insiders and industry veterans will argue it's a business. Nothing wrong about that. They need ad money desperately to get the funding for other shows they wanted to premiere this year, combining with their Encantadia spin-off and Reliance some OG entertainment shows that hope to be remembered within the next 5 years or so. Yet I can't help but question whether the legacy media industry is fundamentally broken. It shifted from public service to merely sustaining those in power. This transformation was predictable. The boundaries between politics and media have already blurred. What remains for the viewer? The content consumer who still seeks objective, unbiased, and informative news finds themselves disappointed. Let me be frank. This election will be no better than the last one, and certainly the next one won't be better either. Whether through sitcoms or political commentary shows, the outcome is the same. The madlang masa are already manipulated. What more in this age of accessible AI chatbots? Where do we go from here? Honestly, I don't know. Rebuilding trust in our media must begin with transparency, and networks need to confront their political ties directly. As an audience, we demand honesty. Do you serve the people or the politicians? Are you focused on the Filipino or those funding your ads? Are you trying to sanewash them? I want to believe Philippine media can transcend being a political tool, though it currently seems unlikely, perhaps not in our lifetime. GMA, TV5, and the once mighty ABS are all flawed. To regain public trust, be the transparent, unbiased platforms we deserve. But let's be clear, this is bigger than a harsh devotion to the favorite networks. Forget bragging about the ratings. It's about the future of the industry as a whole. In a rapidly evolving digital landscape, you face a choice: continue the old political game and be alienated, or become accountable sources of information for those you serve. The clock is ticking, and if you don't change, you risk becoming irrelevant and irreverent. Sincerely, someone who's had enough. End screen! If you have any questions for the upcoming Q&A, feel free to drop them in the comments or use the teleform in the description box below. Just a quick note, let's steer clear of questions about the media and politics when you ask me. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button to stay in the loop. It's time to sign off, and I can't wait to see you there.